Test 1 2 testing 1 2.
So, is Eric? Is anyone else out there? There's three more people, four more people. Okay, okay. So we'll give it another minute, and then we're gonna jump right into our program. Thank you all for being here.
Can everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Candace Williams, Congressman Johnson's Social Security Liaison and Grants Coordinator. It is a privilege to stand before you today as I welcome you to Representative Johnson's 2023 Unsung Hero Ceremony, honoring community advocates, veterans, educators, and business leaders across this great district. Our office salutes you for working tirelessly behind the scenes. We appreciate your dedication and contributions that have often gone unnoticed, but have nevertheless made a significant impact in making the world a better place. And for that, we say thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. All right, we're going to get this started. This party started, all right. But before we do that, I have a couple of house things I want to do, if you don't mind. First, I'm going to ask if you all would, let's take a moment of silence. This year, we lost a great person, an advocate, one of our first unsung heroes when the Congressman started, Miss Janelle Green. She passed a few weeks ago. And at this time, I ask, can we have a moment of silence for Miss Green? Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, unsung heroes, wow. You guys really did it this year. They said 2023 is the year of plenty. And we have seen plenty with what we have going on today. We want to also acknowledge our elected officials here. They're in the audience. If you can ask you to stand up. Commissioner Larry Johnson, DeKalb County. Let's give him a hand. We also have our Mayor Pro Tem for the City of Stonecrest, Mr. George Turner. He's in the rack. And I believe that's it. Is there any other elected officials here that I may have overlooked? All right. Thank you. Congressman Hank Johnson's Unsung Heroes program. What is an unsung hero? Is it the community advocate who's at all the city council meetings talking about what it is that the city needs and don't need? Is it the young lady who's working with the veterans group to make sure that these veterans get the services they need and someone's advocating on their behalf? Is it the organization that takes care of our seniors and our youth, our elderly, our disabled? Is it the former state representative who decides he still wants to keep going even though he may not be in a seat? Is it our law enforcement officers, our firefighters, our teachers, our doctors, our paraprofessionals, secretaries? Yes, those are the unsung heroes. You see, the unsung heroes, you all give of yourselves, asking for nothing in return. You're doing it to make the district better, the community better. You're doing it to help mentor a little boy, a little girl, so that our society can be made whole. Because what we invest is what we get out. The children are the future, and once we all were children, you know, I look at some of our young people now, like Jaden Parrish, who works for the Congressman. I remember when I worked for the Congressman, I had hair like Jaden, and I was a little smaller. But as the years go by, we get bigger. But I would like to say this, because there are some other unsung heroes we could not recognize tonight because they work for the Congressman. That's Congressman Hank Johnson's staff. Kathy Register, the district director. Zaron Pleasure, director of external affairs. Andy Phelan, our communications director. Candace Williams, our Social Security liaison, nonprofits. Peter Butts, our Director of Security. Shai Armstrong, our Veterans Affairs liaison. I mean, they give of themselves daily, ladies and gentlemen, because they love to do the job. And most definitely our congressman wouldn't have it any other way. Because if you don't love serving, then you're in the wrong profession. And Dr. Martin Luther King said it best. Anyone can be great because everyone can serve. And so to you, Unsung heroes, we thank you for your service. We thank you for getting up in the middle of the night to check on that young man who's in jail. We thank you for going out into the food pantries, making sure that we feed the hungry. We thank you for giving to the homeless shelters. We thank you for making a difference. And because of that, Congressman Hank Johnson wants to honor you, just to give you a small token of appreciation, to say, I recognize you, I honor what you're doing, and I thank you. And there's a poem that I had penned called The Power of One. And the congressman, I like it because the congressman allows me to show that I'm a poet, even though some of you all didn't know it. But we did this for you because what one person can do is make a difference. I mean, we're not going to agree on everything, ladies and gentlemen. You know, you may be from South Memphis, you may be from North Decatur, you may be Baptist, you may be Muslim, you may be anything. You might like bubblegum and you might like the New York Knicks. But we all are here to make a difference, and one person can. The power of one. One can never underestimate the power of the heart and mind. One can never make changes if one never puts in the time. One can be as powerful as a nation of many if one desires to be. One can make the difference in being a captive or living free. One can set many on the path to harmony in the universe. One becomes the master musician when one helps others to rehearse. One can be the difference in making war and violence cease. One can be the essential for a world of harmony and peace. One can show compassion and gain friends throughout the world. One can give words of wisdom to help mold young boys and girls. One can be the voice of many, urging justice for all. One can make the difference in whether we stand or fall. One can change the world by giving a helping hand with humility. One, such as you, our unsung hero, with your love for humanity. Thank you for all that you do. And at this time, I'm going to bring up Miss Kathy Register and Congressman Hank Johnson to do the presentation of our awards. Let's give them a hand.
Thank you, Eric. And good afternoon, everyone. Yeah, I know all of your phones are probably lighting up with the word that our First Lady, Rosalind Carter, has passed away. And I'm just reading here. Well, before I read, can we just pause for a moment of silence for her and her family? Thank you so much. And thank you so much to Jimmy and Rosalind Carter for the service that they have rendered to humanity, both before the White House and especially after the White House. And in this article, it's talking about Rosalind. She was the oldest child of 4 in the family. The family was very poor, lived in poverty, and her father died when she was 13. And she commented that at that point, that was the end of her childhood because her mother was totally dependent on Rosalind. And so Rosalind had to step up. And she said her father's death, what she learned was that what I learned from her, what I learned from her mother, what she learned from her mother, she said, after her father's death, was that you can do what you have to do, no matter what situation you find yourself in. And so there are so many people who find themselves in that kind of a position in life, and they may have the fortune to run across someone such as you, all of you who are being honored this evening, who offer service to the people. And so none of us do what we have done by ourselves. We all had a hand up or had some assistance from someone. So I want to thank all of you all for rendering assistance to people in need. That is why we are honoring you today. And I do believe that Eric Hubbard must have gotten an advance copy of my remarks, so I won't repeat what he has already told you. And so for all of the men who are here who are not being honored, would you please stand? The men who are not being honored, would you please stand? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I want y'all to look at these men in this who are standing. They came to support those who are being honored, and I know that they are hoping that this program will end shortly so they can get back to the football game. So thank you, gentlemen. Yeah. So with no further ado, I'm going to go ahead and start into this program. Our first honoree, Dr. Roderick Cunningham, is the chairman and CEO of the Beverly Cunningham Outreach Program Incorporated, BCOP Incorporated, which was founded in 2010 after Roderick's mother was murdered by her husband. And the mission of BCOP is to provide individual and group counseling, advocacy, and rehabilitation services to survivors of domestic violence. The program has served over 28,000 children, women, and families through its domestic violence programs, economic empowerment programs, workforce development, internships, and community outreach programs since 2010. Mr. Cunningham, would you come up? And normally I would offer the mic to each honoree, but because we got to get back to the football game, I'm not going to do that today. All right. Thank you. Thank you. And by the way, I think this is the Falcons' bye week, right? So we don't have to suffer watching them, but I'm a man of such strong faith that I keep believing in them for some reason. I'm looking for a miracle. You know? Our next honoree is Ms. Beth Earhart. Ms. Earhart has been the Chief Executive Officer of the Georgia Lions Lighthouse Foundation since September of 2022. She leads the Georgia nonprofit based in Chamblee, which focuses on vision services for those in need throughout Georgia. Lions Lighthouse provides a wide array of vision services from on-site vision and eyeglass clinic services in Chambly, to coordination of surgical care for glaucoma, cataracts, and macular degeneration at no cost to the patients. Thank you for your service. Next, ladies and gentlemen, Pastor William Francis. He's the lead practitioner at Lives and Souls Missional Church and the visionary behind Lives and Souls Global, formerly The Hub. Whether it's been on street corners, under bridges, or in homeless camps, he and his team have fed the 5,000, provided cold water in the heat, and warm clothing when temperatures dropped below freezing. His organization helped house over 400 families during the height of the COVID pandemic. Pastor Francis, thank you, sir. Pastor Clara Lett is a native of Newton County and the founder and pastor of Rainbow Covenant Ministries Incorporated and Rainbow Community Center Incorporated. Her most recent venture is the Garden of Gethsemane homeless shelter. Through the shelter, she has served over 30,000 people, providing them with clothes, food, and shelter. Pastor Lett is not here. She's doing great work. Ms. Patricia Roberts, Pat Roberts, is the mother of specialist Jamal Rashad Addison, the first soldier from Georgia killed in the Iraqi war. Patricia turned her pain and grief into action as the founder of the Jamal Addison Motivational Foundation, a 501c3 nonprofit organization she created in his honor. The foundation is dedicated to providing quality mentorship, tutoring, and family assistance programs to military and non-military youth. Pat, good to see you, and thank you for all that you do. Thank you. I think Pat has found the secret of aging. I'm going to need to find out what water it is that you drink. Mr. Fuquan and Ms. Sheila Stafford are founders of the Stafford Boxing Club, a successful mentoring program that was born out of their vision and commitment to the youth of DeKalb County. In the Stafford Boxing Club mentoring program, spiritual gloves the Staffords use boxing as a powerful metaphor, symbolizing the inner strength and resilience that the program cultivates in its participants. Boxing gloves represent more than physical boxing prowess. They embody mental toughness, self-esteem, financial literacy, and academic confidence. Mr. Kosha Swan is the founder of the Veteran Anthem Incorporated, which is a nonprofit organization that focuses on inspiring mental health among veterans, service members, and their families through the inspirational speaking and through the Veteran Anthem Corporation, the Veteran Anthem Composition. The Veteran Anthem Composition currently holds a bill in the Georgia General Assembly, SR 122, and it is the only other anthem with legislation behind it that is headed for a vote in the next legislative session. Mr. Kosha Swan. Ms. Faye Cofield is a retired City of Atlanta police sergeant. Today, she is the owner and operator of Faye Cofield Investigations and Security Agency. She is the first black woman to address a committee meeting of the Police Federation of England and Wales in Scarborough, England, about the recruitment and retention of diverse officers. Faye was part of a team that contributed to and executed President Obama's 21st Century Policing Project. Today, Faye is the interim chairwoman of the Criminal Justice Committee of the Georgia Coalition of the for the People's Agenda. My friend, Faye Cofield. And for those of you who don't know, you much rather have Faye as your friend than your adversary. She's smiling, isn't she? Okay, good. All right. Next, Mr. Jeff Dickerson is president of Dickerson Communications, a public affairs firm that provides communications counsel and public articulation of challenges and crises on behalf of private companies and public agencies. A newspaper man by training, Jeff is also a renaissance man, from consulting with Atlanta giants such as Coca-Cola, Delta Airlines, and Scanner Energy, to woodworking, being a TV personality, and also as a loving father and husband. Jeff is married to Atlanta native and novelist Tracy Howard and currently lives in Stonecrest. And he insisted that I put this part in here about his wife. So you know when Jeff is involved, there's been somebody has spilled the milk and trying to give a good explanation for why you should drink that milk after it's been poured back into the bottle. Mr. Reginald Ray Moore is retired as the special agent in charge of the Atlanta field office of the U.S. Secret Service. Ray was a senior executive service member with more than 32 years of proven investigative, executive protection, protective intelligence gathering, and security education experience. Some of Ray's experiences include the protection of 8 U.S. presidents and the management of numerous national security special events, such as presidential inaugurations, United Nations General Assemblies, and Super Bowls. I present to you Mr. Reginald Ray Moore. Not to be confused with Rudy Ray Moore. Miss Martha Shockey is a Georgia native who has dedicated her life to advocating for causes to promote the well-being of fellow citizens. For 5 years, she served as a co-facilitator of the Depression and Bipolar Support Alliance Friends and Family Support Groups. She co-authored Indivisible Georgia 04 in 2016 and the Indivisible Georgia Coalition in 2017. Civic education and and engagement are at the core of the mission of those organizations. She strongly believes in an informed electorate, which is the core of a democracy. Martha is also one of the founders of the Stone Mountain Action Coalition. So in all seriousness, Ms. Shockey was one of those who was so instrumental in protecting our democracy by sending a firm message in 2017 when John Ossoff ran for the 6th Congressional District and came so close. And then the complete turnover in 2018 and 2020, and on towards now 2024 after having done it in 2022. So thank you so much. Not gonna joke about her. Yeah, she'll call the folks out on you. Mr. Stan Watson, a retired healthcare professional with more than 15 years experience. He was the founder of the DeKalb County Cabinet Breakfast in the early 1990s and still holds the breakfasts today. A U.S. Navy veteran, Stan served 10 years in the Georgia General Assembly, mostly as chairman of the DeKalb County or the DeKalb House delegation and chairman of the Georgia Legislative Black Caucus. He also chaired the National Black Caucus, Hurricane Katrina Task Force. Stan has worked for several federal agencies and currently is with the Veteran Administration. He takes great delight when I come to the community breakfasts to always grab the mic to stop me from talking. And so I'm not going to hand this mic to Stan for that reason. Dr. Alice Bussey, an astute and highly successful businesswoman, was born and raised in South DeKalb County, county line, and is an active volunteer. She has served on the boards of several organizations, including the Georgia Council of International Visitors, DeKalb County Council on Aging, Atlanta Private Industry Council, Ron McNair's Scholarship Foundation, Atlanta Black Tourism Network, and International Florist Association, to name a few. Dr. Bussey currently serves on the boards of the Boys and Girls Club of Metro Atlanta, OIC, among many others. My good friend, Dr. Alice Bussey. I have bad dreams at night of myself laying in a carpet looking at a spray from Bussey Florist. I've seen so many of her sprays. Mr. Donald Edwards, a military man through and through who gave more than 20 years of service in a myriad of positions, and then gave another 13 years to the government for a total of more than 33 years. As an ordained deacon of Salem Bible Church, Donald is a man of deep faith. Over the past 10 years, Donald has worked on many DeKalb and Rockdale political campaigns, and oftentimes you could find him running up and down Stone Mountain. All right, that's what's taking him so long to get up here. Yeah, I was out, caught myself going up and down the mountain the other day, and I saw this go past me, and then before I knew anything, was going back past me. I was still going up the mountain. It must have been Mr. Edwards. Miss Nettie Jackson has spent her career in the fight for health equity and against health disparities. As the Southeast Director of Government Relations, Health Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion at the American Heart Association, she has planned and implemented projects and programs for health equity promotion and health disparity reduction in the communities throughout the Southeast. Ms. Nettie Jackson. Okay. All right. Mr. Dave Marcus is the founder and president of the Friends of Arabia Mountain, which was formed in 1992. He helped convince DeKalb County to protect Arabia Mountain and hire its first ranger. Friends raised $1.2 million for a nature center, ranger dwelling, and other improvements. With the funding, they built info kiosks, held cleanup days, and raised awareness of the value and beauty of the area, setting the stage for the Path Foundation to build the major trail at Arabia and for the nature preserve to be expanded from 500 to 2,500 acres, and the eventual creation of the Arabia Mountain National Heritage Area, which is what enables the heritage area to get funding from the federal government. So, sir, thank you so much for everything that you do. And that is a hidden jewel in our community. Not ready for it. Mr. Bruce McMillan proudly served in the U.S. Army and later served 35 years in the federal government with the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development and the Federal Aviation Administration. He has also been deeply committed to community activism, working alongside Rainbow Push and the People's Agenda to improve the quality of life in our community. Bruce has worked with the Reverend Jesse Jackson, Dr. Joseph Lowry, the Reverend Cameron Alexander, and other giants in the civil rights community. Mr. Bruce McWilliams. Put Bruce in the same category as Faye Cofield. Okay. All right. Okay, next, my good friend Carlene Cumberbatch. I'm gonna come down. Only problem is I can't see. How you doing, Carlene? Good to see you. Turn around and let everybody see you. All right. Miss Carlene Cumberbatch believes that to be an active member of the community, you must exercise your franchise in every election. A transplant from New York, Carlene has devoted her life to helping seniors, whether that is teaching the benefits of daily exercise to helping seniors navigate Medicare and register to vote. Carlene did it all, and not just in DeKalb, but in Rockdale, Clayton, Gwinnett, and beyond. And recently I had the opportunity to meet with her for her annual visit to my D.C. office. She came by herself and navigated all through the complex and everything to make it through my office, and sat down and we had a nice little chat. It was good to see you, and it's great to bestow this honor upon you. Delta Sigma Theta extraordinaire also. Mr. Orrin Hudson is the founder, CEO of Be Someone Incorporated. Taking everything one move at a time, Orrin, who's a former law enforcement officer, teaches at-risk youth critical life lessons through the game of chess. Widely covered in national and Atlanta media, Orrin's message for young people who want to be gangbangers is, think it out, don't shoot it out. The new weapon of choice is a king, queen, and a pawn, not a gun. Besides teaching, the chess champion is also a sought-after public speaker, and the last time I beat him on a chessboard, he took it real well. Miss Mary King is a longtime educator, first in Alabama and then later in Kentucky. But luckily for us, she spent most of her career here in DeKalb County, where she taught at E.L. Bowie Traditional Theme School in Stonecrest. She has been a volunteer over the years as a Brownie Troop and Girl Scout sponsor, a varsity basketball sponsor, Beta sponsor, parent-teacher organization, Green Forest Community School, a literacy reading coach, and so much more. Ms. Mary King. Ms. Vivian Moore might be best known as the former president of the DeKalb NAACP. As president, she was able to be the voice for folks who had no voice, and this gave her the opportunity to register people to vote. Her goal is to continue to register people who are incarcerated but have not committed a felony, and educate the inmates that have a felony record how they can regain their right to vote. Her affiliations and good works include helping feed the homeless, find them a place to stay, and helping folks with LAHEAP. Community advocate extraordinaire, Ms. Vivian Moore. Ms. Paulette McWhorter is known to many in our community as the friendly cashier at Publix on Panola for the past decade. And she is all of that, but she's been giving back to our community in small and large ways. Not only was Paulette a cultural ambassador for the new Publix employees, but she also helped build homes with Habitat for Humanity. And she volunteered and did community work with Arabia Mountain Park, and she served as outreach volunteer for Father's House Food Pantry, Ms. Paulette McWhorter. Do y'all think you could put some lemon pie in there sometimes? I've been wearing out the key lime. Need some lemon pie now. Okay. All right, Miss Charlotte Kane is a spoken word actress, festival producer, and talent coordinator whose signature production, Eclectic Moments, showcased her talents through live music mixed with poetry, song, dance, fashion, and more to feed the heart, the mind, and the soul. She recently founded the Stonecrest Fest in 2017 to celebrate the brand new city and has been putting it on annually the first Saturday in October. Her latest project is introducing aviation to youth by creating the first Georgia Drone Soccer League in the city of Stonecrest. Miss Kane, Miss Charlotte Kane. Trying to wrap my mind around drone soccer. Mr. George Cheedy writes for the Atlanta Objective, a newsletter on the politics of criminal justice in Georgia. He is a longtime resident and former city councilman for the city of Pine Lake and a regular advocate on issues of inequality, poverty, homelessness, and racial equality in Georgia. George has been a community-focused journalist in Atlanta for nearly 20 years, and because he was snooping around down at the Capitol on December 12th, was it? Huh? Yeah, he was looking around. But he was able to see folks walking into a room, and so like a good journalist, he decided to walk in with him. I don't know, what got into him, but his expose of the whole thing has been very important. So thank you, George Cheedy. This is no joke. George and I first became better acquainted when we both attended a Ku Klux Klan rally out at Stone Mountain. I mean, I'm serious about it. Myself and my wife, Marita, we went and we saw George there. And it was a remarkable experience, being in the midst of those folks, some of whom just don't understand what the flag means to anybody other than themselves. And then you have to respect them for having that view and then try to bring them across to your view also in a calm and polite manner. But that's what we were doing out there. And so George was out there chronicling it all, but you didn't do a story on it, George. Huh? You still got the footage and everything? It might be good for you to release that around election time for me. Miss Stephanie Carreau is the executive director of the Los Vecinos de Buford Highway, a local nonprofit working to empower the Latino community, the Latino immigrant community of Buford Highway that brings resources directly to families in apartment complexes and in the community and protects tenants' rights and creates future leaders throughout the vibrant corridor. An immigrant herself at the age of 4, Stephanie is also an entrepreneur, As a small business consultant, she partners with women-owned and minority-owned businesses to help with their business development and sales strategies. Ms. Stephanie Correas. Now, Mr. Alvin Dollar, who was one of Larry Johnson and I, along with 5 others, ran for the DeKalb County Commission seat, District 5 in 2000. And there were 4 Johnsons in the race: me, Larry, Teresa Green Johnson, and Darrell Johnson. And also in that race was Alvin Dollar. And Alvin Dollar is one of the honorees today. Alvin has been battling with a disease. I think it's cancer. He's been battling for a few years, and he is not able to come today to accept his award. But Cheryl Johnson is who is his assistant, is picking it up for him. Mr. Alvin Dollar is a son of Atlanta, a 3rd-generation native who attended Atlanta Public Schools, Morehouse College, and Georgia State University. He used his education to give back to his community by serving the city of Atlanta as the director of the Dunbar Neighborhood Center, and later as a principal driving force behind Arise, a social justice educational and outreach program in DeKalb. And a few years ago, when I used to go to the Y, I still have visions of going to the Y on Snapfinger. But when I used to go there, I would always run into Alvin, and we would talk over there. And so I want you to please convey to him our appreciation for everything that he has done to help our community throughout his time here. Mr. Keith Lamar is a Morehouse man and a highly accomplished entrepreneur who rose through the sales ranks at Mutual of Omaha before starting his own firm, Superior Logistics Alternatives. Under his leadership, SLA flourished and attracted major clients, including the Michelin Tire Corporation. Over a span of 14 years, SLA grew to 150 employees before he sold the company, but it is his and his wife Pam's passion for young people that has made his mark. Although he has filled many roles establishing the Performing Arts and Life Skills Academy, which helps to mold and develop young people to be outstanding citizens, that is one of his greatest accomplishments. Mr. Keith Lamar. Dr. Iris Buchanan Perry was a practicing pediatric generalist, hematologist, teacher, and clinical scientist. She worked for more than 30 years at Emory University and Morehouse School of Medicine in the care of children with a particular concentration on children with sickle cell disease. She retired in 2020, but she still volunteers as chair of the James T. Thornton Scholarship Fund, a court-appointed special advocate for children in foster care, as a lecturer at Morehouse School of Medicine, and judge for Congressman Hank Johnson's annual Congressional Black Caucus Scholarships, Dr. Iris Buchanan Perry. Last but not least, Mr. Brian Wertheim. Is Brian here? Okay, Brian. Brian is a graduate of Emory University School of Law and has practiced law in DeKalb County since 1976. He has worked extensively to get out the vote in both federal and state elections since 2000, and as an active campaigner and strategist for multiple Democratic candidates. Brian has also been instrumental in working with students at local high schools to register young voters. Brian has often stated, always remember to think outside the box, because many political, legal, business, and family problems are not battles to win, but problems to solve. And Brian is also a good friend, and he is Jewish. And so we often have opportunity to talk about issues involving Jews, Israel, anti-Semitism, that kind of thing. And Brian is somebody whose judgment and wisdom I rely upon. So thank you, Brian. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's almost over. So I'm gonna ask Saron Pledger to give us our final instructions for the evening, and football is on the way.
All right, before the congressman gives his closing remarks, there's a ritual we do every year. If you have an award, I need you to make sure that your award is on. And if you can stand, and stand with it. If you can't stand, just hold it up. The goal is to get a photo of you guys in the audience with the award on. Make sure your lights are on. Should be on the side. The same button you turned it off with is the same button you can turn it on with. Mr. Phelan, are you going to take it from there, or are you going to come up here and take it? Yeah, let's see if we can try to get all the angles. He's taking them from over there. I'm going to take a couple shots as well, so we'll have them from multiple angles. Look to your right first.
And I think it was a good idea to allow folks to eat before we started the program, because otherwise I'd have had to finish the program a whole lot quicker. So having a full belly means that everybody could kind of relax a little bit. But I do appreciate everyone for coming out on a Sunday evening to honor those who we selected to be recognized. And if you are not one of them, it doesn't mean that you're not doing anything. It just means that your time is coming next year during football season. So, but it is my honor to honor those who are doing so much to enhance the lives of others in our community. Community service is what it's all about. And thank you all so much for coming. If there's anything I can ever do for you, then please call Kathy Register. And by the way, I want to take this opportunity to thank my staff for all of the great work that they do. Because how would it look if I'm standing up here talking to y'all and you all are not being able to get constituent services handled through my office? That you wouldn't even be here. So I recognize that I would not be who I am without them. So thank y'all so much, and enjoy the rest of the evening, you all. Thank you.